John Davies' poem, Nos T. Ipsum, reprinted numerous times, was one of the first English poem to use the decasyllabic quatrain, instead of the heroic couplet for a poem of its scope. The poem summarizes the main issues in religious thought in the Elizabethan era, addressing the relation of body to soul, and of materialism to idealism. According to Yale professor for philosophy, Elias H. Sneath, Nos Ipsum is regarded by competent critics as one of the finest pieces of philosophical verses in the English language, a masterpiece of metrical philosophy. The poem considers the problem of knowledge and man's capacity to know, and the problem of the reality of the soul. According to J.R. Brink, Nos Ipsum provides us with an impressive example of the influence of rhetorical theory upon the structure of a Renaissance poem. Also for Shakespeare, it is possible to find throughout his plays and poetry the handling of many philosophical problems, themes and ideas, as well as the traces of several philosophical influences and readings. John Davies' Myram in Modern contains a dedicatory poem to William Herbert, the Earl of Pembroke, in which the author confesses that he had to divide his soul into the three virtues: understanding, will, and memory.
Is it really thinkable and plausible that at the climax of Shakespeare's creative period, a double of two independent poets, both named John Davies, wrote such outstanding poetical and philosophical works? But that the towering dramatist, thinker and philosopher, Shakespeare didn't dare, at any time during his poetical career, to use the literary genre of a philosophical treatise in poetical form? Epigram 159. To our English Terence, Master William Shakespeare. Some say, good will, which I, in sport, do sing. Hadst you not played some kingly parts in sport, you hadst been a companion for a king, and been a king among the meaner sort. Some others rail, but rail, as they think fit. You hast no railing, but a reigning wit. And honesty, you sowest, which they do reap. So, to increase their stock, which they do keep.
No Shakespeare biographer ever mentioned and explained why epigram 159 is inextricably bound up with the subsequent epigram 160. What can this tight connection between both epigrams really mean?
Epigram 160. To his, that is Shakespeare's, most constant, though most unknown friend. Nobody.
Who was Shakespeare's most constant, though most unknown friend? Why Shakespeare's unknown friend was a nobody? Why will he be served with nothing, that alone serves him, is good for him? The allegoric answer of a splitted identity of Shakespeare seems obvious. The hyphenated Shakespeare, a pseudonym of a steady, most constant, concealed, most unknown, friend, that is, of his real self. The true Shakespeare, Marlowe, in reality had to become a nobody allegorically hyphenated similarly to Shakespeare, whose concealed endangered identity had to be protected with nothing, that is with silence.
To most ingenious master, Francis Beaumont. Some, that thy name abbreviate, call thee Frank, so may they well, if they respect thy wit. For, like rich corn, that some fools call too rank, all clean wit reapers still are griping it. And, could I sow for thee to reap and use, I should esteem it manna, for the muse.
In an introductory poem, entitled Of the Book, in The Scourge of Folly, John Davies, most logically an early pseudonym of the true Shakespeare, finishes the 32 lines of the poem by openly disclosing his situation as a writer, using multiple pseudonyms, in the concluding last 2 lines. upon the making of one friend's face, on the board where an author's was made. The first, being put out with color. For the second, thereon to be painted.
Though my bad face defaces my good friend's, his, under mine entered. And mine. That whom fortune and art have done it to these ends. That, as two hearts, two heads should have, one room. The buried face lives with the principle. In nature, one, in art, the other is. Then, his face covered. My face, covering shall show, as a monument of that and this. If time consume mine, as the monument, it will meet with his, then, kept from rack, in mine. And then shall his, mine, ruined, represent even as through mine, of yore, his face did shine. In earnest pace time so, our faces shall outface time's brazen face, outfacing all.
A highly allegorical poem. Evidence, variously shown here and elsewhere, suggests that the pseudonymous author of The Scourge of Folly, John Davies, one of the early pseudonyms of the true Shakespeare, shared the name John Davies with the knighted Attorney General of Ireland, whose father Edward Davies emigrated to England in the company of William Herbert, Earl of Pembroke. Isn't Davies clearly anticipating here already the upcoming, planned erection of the Stratford bust? The monument, as well as the faked Shakespeare folio engraving?
Good sir, your nature so affects my name, that both your name and nature are mine own, and in their love to both affect your fame. Yet, having not like fortunes, live unknown, and, lodestone-like, did not your nature draw mine to the point, which yours did once, project, these hard rhymes to digest, as rude as raw, no cause should ever have brought to this effect. But yet, to imitate our friends in ill, is much more ill. And to unkind accord of ill, you write too well. And so I will, if so I can, to make ill more abhorred. Then if you like these purgings of my brain, I'll never believe that aught it yields, is vain. thy praise pertains to me. To me to whom thy name pertains. All's but one John Davies, that such glory gains. Thy name, thy fame unto my name combines. Then must John Davies share John Davies' worth. For time to come, can no distinction give. Were I idle, I have thy work's wages. What he is, he was not.
Yet the same he was, he is.
Though the case be strange.
Yet it is true in nature.
Though his name be doubled
by his confixed double frame.
Yet ours, that is mine, into his nature never came.
But ours, that is mine, from his, by others' acts, is known.
Then, by that change, no changeling is he grown.
Knows not what an epigram does mean, which taxes under a particular name, a general vice, which merits public blame.
First you see fixed in this huge mirror blue of trembling lights, a number numberless, fixed they are named, but with a name untrue.
They, which are dead remember not thy name. Nor does the silent grave thy praise proclaim.
What profit can there by my death arise? When buried in the grave my body lives. Shall dust and ashes celebrate thy name? Or shall the silent tomb thy truth proclaim?
I am, that I was not. And I was, that I am. I was unmade. That was in a state confused. I am, for art has formed that formless frame. Yet formed my nature was, before art was used. Mother tongue, and wit, observance, and good will have made me what I am, or good, or ill.
as that self-blindness needs must see the same. Let God's fools wisely thereon still depend, while these wise men, like fools past grace and shame, denying it, loose body, soul, and name.
His name and words, for words are too vile. I am. Quoth he, what art, Lord? That I am. Look, here is the highest state. Alas, the while that words can reach, though he devised the same, that with words cannot tell his nameless name.
That is not more than supersubstantial. Then can no name his nameless name express. But what? In sense precise, unnames them all. For whoso knows it most, does know it less, as they that knows most of all confess.
But what? And who are you? You nameless great. Since you are great, beyond all quantity. How good are you? You goodness most complete. For, you are good, beyond all quality.
Who are you? You Lord, whose magnitude admits no name. And what, or who am I?
Then, let my will be aided by thy might. That will, indeed, may praise thy name aright.
I needs must die, for life inspiring you. And die, if die you do, by whom I live. I do decay when I do you, renew. Oh! Then what choice remains to wretched me but to be naught, or not at all to be?
For, faith, in truth, knows more than you canst know, that names of famous men away shall rot. If from such graceless grounds their fames do grow,